continues to be an incredibly challenging problem today in hospitals and healthcare systems, where really still, people wash their hands about 50% of the time that they should. As you can see, this is a significant problem. Nearly 6% of healthcare acquired infections are fatal, and hand washing is one of the best ways to reduce healthcare acquired infections. There are also big savings potentially associated with reducing these infections and having people to wash their hands. If hospitals can increase compliance, and what that means is just when someone is supposed to wash his or her hands, that person washes hands. A 1% increase in compliance can yield almost $21,000 savings in unnecessary costs. So real potential for saving money here. And so what I'd like you to think about in this poll, imagine that you are a nurse or a physician in a hospital. You have this standard that you're supposed to wash your hands. And as you pass this hand washing station, there's a sign that's hung above it. And the sign reads one of these three sayings. And what I'd like you to do is just respond to the poll and indicate which of these signs do you think would lead people to wash their hands the most. Is it A, hand hygiene prevents you from catching diseases, B, hand hygiene prevents patients from catching diseases, or C, very simple message, gel in, wash out? So go ahead and I'll take 10 seconds as you respond to the poll. Okay, so what we have coming through for the results, 53% said A, hand hygiene prevents you from catching diseases. 19% said B, hand hygiene prevents patients from catching diseases, and 28% said C, gel in, wash out. Now, what's interesting about these findings, so A speaks to, if you think about what motivates behavior, A is really speaking to a self-interest. This is a self-interest motivation that I'm going to wash my hands because it's going to save my own health. B speaks to a more pro-social motivation. I'm going to wash my hands in the interests of the others who I'm caring for. And C is, in fact, before this study was run, in these institutions was the standard sign used above hand washing stations, gel in, wash out. It's very short, it's very direct, kind of catchy to remind people what they're supposed to do. So here's the result of this study. So what we see actually is that the status quo, this is the control, that's gel in, wash out, performs less well than asking people to wash their hands because it's going to protect patients, the more pro-social motivation, which actually outperforms the self-interest, which does the worse here. So in this case, the two really most widely thought signs that are going to promote hand washing perform the worst. Now, theft is a major problem for these organizations because they generally operate on pretty thin profit margins. Employees can steal from the restaurants by gaming the point-of-sale system. And I'll describe a few different ways that people do this in a moment. The most common ways are from transferring items from one table to another, from voiding items from a ticket, from comping customers. And so one way that organizations are going about trying to prevent theft is to use monitoring technology that really just mines the data set that's generated from the point-of-sale system to identify possible perpetrators. So what I'd like you to do is respond to a poll, very basic poll, just getting what your thoughts are. Do you think that implementing this type of a theft monitoring system, if you're a manager, is this going to increase worker productivity or will this decrease worker productivity? And I'll wait 10 seconds while you respond. Okay, we're seeing an even split between audience members. 46% think that a theft monitoring system will increase worker productivity, and 54% think that theft monitoring system will decrease worker productivity. Again, some of the reasons why we might think this and why this is a valuable question to try to answer with data, there's a compelling reason to think that when there's theft monitoring, people aren't investing their time in stealing, and in fact now they have to perform at a higher level to recoup whatever costs or whatever benefits they might have had from stealing before. In contrast, you might think that imposing this sort of monitoring system violates people's idea that the workplace respects me, values me, sees me as having integrity, and so I'm less committed, and I'm going to withhold that extra bit of effort that I usually give in going above and beyond the call of duty. We're finding that these restaurants are making more money after implementation than beforehand, and this is through revenues. This is people are spending more money. So what this study shows is that monitoring technology is effective both in reducing theft, so we're avoiding losses, but now we're also increasing worker productivity. Now this study used very sophisticated analytics to rule out lots of different reasons why this might be. In particular, this isn't because known thieves are turning over. Instead, it's because employees are actually selling more product. They're selling more product than they were before the implementation of this system. They're also achieving higher tip percentages. And so there are some spillover benefits for the employees themselves as they invest themselves in the workplace rather than perhaps engaging in some of this theft behavior. So again, this is an example of insights that are gleaned by analyzing existing available data and unlocking or unfreezing the knowledge that's there.